Yes, sir. Self. Have a good time at Ascot. Jeeves. Most agreeable, sir. Self. Win anything? Jeeves. Quite a satisfactory sum, thank you, sir. Self. Good. Well, Jeeves, what news on the Rialto? Anybody been phoning or calling or anything during my abs? Jeeves. Mr. Finknottle, sir, has been a frequent caller. I stared. Indeed, it would not be too much to say that I gaped. Mr. Finknottle? Yes, sir. You don't mean Mr. Finknottle? Yes, sir. But Mr. Finknottle's not in London. Yes, sir. Well, I'm blowed. And I'll tell you why I was blowed. I found it scarcely possible to give credence to his statement. This Finknottle, you see, was one of those freaks you come across from time to time during life's journey who can't stand London. He lived year in and year out, covered with moss, in a remote village down in Lincolnshire, never coming up even for the Eton and Harrow match. And when I asked him once if he didn't find the time hang a bit heavy on his hands, he said no, because he had a pond in his garden and studied the habits of newts. I couldn't imagine what could have brought the chap up to the great city. I would have been prepared to bet that as long as the supply of newts didn't give out, nothing could have shifted him from that village of his. You sure? Yes, sir. You got the name correctly? Finknottle? Yes, sir. Well, it's the most extraordinary thing. It must be 5 years since he was in London. He makes no secret of the fact that the place gives him the pip. Until now, he's always stayed glued to the country, completely surrounded by newts. Sir? Newts, Jeeves. Mr. Finknottle has a strong newt complex. You must have heard of newts. Those little sort of lizard things that charge about in ponds. Oh, yes, sir. The aquatic members of the family Salamandridae, which constitute the genus Mulga. That's right. Well, Gussie has always been a slave to them. He used to keep them at school. I believe young gentlemen frequently do, sir. He kept them in his study in a kind of glass tank arrangement, and pretty niffy the whole thing was, I recall. I suppose one ought to have been able to see what the end would be even then, but you know what boys are. Careless, heedless, busy about our own affairs. We scarcely gave this kink in Gussie's character a thought. We may have exchanged an occasional remark about it taking all sorts to make a world, but nothing more. You can guess the sequel. The trouble spread. Indeed, sir. Absolutely, Jeeves. The craving grew upon him. The newts got him. Arrived at man's estate, he retired to the depths of the country and gave his life up to these dumb chums. I suppose he used to tell himself that he could take 'em or leave 'em alone, and then found, too late, that he couldn't. It is often the way, sir. Too true, Jeeves. At any rate, for the last 5 years, he's been living at this place of his down in Lincolnshire, as confirmed a species-shunning hermit as ever put fresh water in the tank every second day and refused to see a soul. That's why I was so amazed when you told me he'd suddenly risen to the surface like this. I still can't believe it. I'm inclined to think that there must be some mistake, and that this bird who's been calling here is some different variety of Finknottle. The chap I know wears horn-rimmed spectacles and has a face like a fish. How does that check up with your data? The gentleman who came to the flat wore horn-rimmed spectacles, sir. And looked like something on a slab? Possibly there was a certain suggestion of the Piscine, sir. Then it must be Gussie, I suppose. But what on earth can have brought him up to London? I am in a position to explain that, sir. Mr. Finknottle confided to me his motive in visiting the metropolis. He came because the young lady is here. Young lady? Yes, sir. You don't mean he's in love? Yes, sir. Well, I'm dashed. I'm really dashed. I positively am dashed, Jeeves. And I was, too. I mean to say, a joke's a joke, but there are limits. Then I found my mind turning to another aspect of this rummy affair. Conceding the fact that Gussie Finknottle, against all the ruling of the form book, might have fallen in love, why should he have been haunting my flat like this? No doubt the occasion was one of those when a fellow needs a friend, but I couldn't see what had made him pick on me. It wasn't as if he and I were in any way bosom. We'd seen a lot of each other at one time, of course, but in the last 2 years I hadn't had so much as a postcard from him. I put all this to Jeeves. On his coming to me. Still, if he did, he did. No argument about that. Must have been a nasty jar for the poor perisher when he found I wasn't here.
No, sir. Mr. Finknottle did not call to see you, sir.
Now pull yourself together, Jeeves. You just told me that that's what he's been doing, and assiduously at that.
It was I with whom he was desirous of establishing communication, sir.
You? But I didn't know you'd ever met him.
I had not had that pleasure until he called here, sir. But it appears that Mr. Sipley, a fellow student of whose Mr. Finknottle had been at the university, recommended him to place his affairs in my hands.
The mystery had conked. I saw all. As I dare say you know, Jeeves's reputation as a counsellor has long been established among the conoscenti, and the first move of any of my little circle on discovering themselves in any form of soup is always to roll round and put the thing up to him. And when he's got A out of a bad spot, A puts B onto him, and then when he's fixed up B, B sends C along. And so on, if you get my drift, and so forth. That's how these big consulting practices like Jeeves's grow. Old Sippy, I knew, had been deeply impressed by the man's efforts on his behalf at the time when he was trying to get engaged to Elizabeth Moon, so it was not to be wondered at that he should have advised Gussie to apply. Pure routine, you might say. Ah, you're acting for him, are you?
Yes, sir.
Now I follow. Now I understand. And what is Gussie's trouble?
Oddly enough, sir, precisely the same as that of Mr. Sipley when I was enabled to be of assistance to him. No doubt you recall Mr. Sipley's predicament, sir. Deeply attached to Miss Moon, he suffered from a rooted diffidence which made it impossible for him to speak.
I nodded. I remember. Yes, I recall the Sipley case. He couldn't bring himself to the scratch. A marked coldness of the feet, was there not? I recollect you saying he was letting, something do something. Cats entered into it, if I'm not mistaken.
Letting I dare not wait upon I would, sir.
That's right. But how about the cats?
Like the poor cat i' the adage, sir.
Exactly. Beats me how you think up these things. And Gussie, you say, is in the same position?
Yes, sir. Each time he endeavours to formulate a proposal of marriage, his courage fails him.
And yet if he wants this female to be his wife, he's got to say so, what? I mean, only civil to mention it.
Precisely, sir.
I mused. Well, I suppose this was inevitable, Jeeves. I wouldn't have thought that this Finknottle would ever have fallen a victim to the divine P. But if he has, no wonder he finds the going sticky.
Yes, sir.
Look at the life he's led.
Yes, sir.
I don't suppose he's spoken to a girl for years. What a lesson this is to us, Jeeves, not to shut ourselves up in country houses and stare into glass tanks. You can't be the dominant male if you do that sort of thing. In this life, you can choose between two courses. You can either shut yourself up in a country house and stare into tanks, or you can be a dasher with the sex. You can't do both.
No, sir.
I mused once more. Gussie and I, as I say, had rather lost touch, but all the same I was exercised about the poor fish, as I am about all my pals, close or distant, who find themselves treading upon life's banana skins. It seemed to me that he was up against it. I threw my mind back to the last time I had seen him. About 2 years ago it had been. I had looked in at his place while on a motor trip, and he'd put me right off my feed by bringing a couple of green things with legs to the luncheon table, crooning over them like a young mother, and eventually losing one of them in the salad. That picture rising before my eyes didn't give me much confidence in the unfortunate goof's ability to woo and win, I must say. Especially if the girl he had earmarked was one of these tough modern thugs, all lipstick and cool, hard, sardonic eyes, as she probably was. Tell me, Jeeves, I said, wishing to know the worst, what sort of a girl is this girl of Gussie's?
I have not met the young lady, sir. Mr. Finknottle speaks highly of her attractions.
Seemed to like her, did he?
Yes, sir.
Did he mention her name? Perhaps I know her.
She is a Miss Bassett, sir. Miss Madeline Bassett.
What?
Yes, sir.
I was deeply intrigued. Egad, Jeeves, fancy that. It's a small world, isn't it, what?
The young lady is an acquaintance of yours, sir?
I know her well. Ah, your news has relieved my mind, Jeeves. It makes the whole thing begin to seem far more like a practical working proposition.
Indeed, sir.
Absolutely.
I confess that until you supplied this information, I was feeling profoundly dubious about poor old Gussie's chances of...